consider the question, how would you lay siege to a castle? One of the most brutal and savage events that could take place within a castle's walls was a siege. Castle owners, royalty and soldiers would dread the thought of an invading enemy laying siege to a fortification in an aim to take the position. Throughout history, thousands of sieges have taken place, in which many have been successful, and some which haven't. In the medieval times, towns or cities had walls, and this would allow sometimes sieges to take place with the closing of the gates. The aim of a siege is to conquer by attrition, to grind down those people stuck inside the area over a long period of time. Sometimes the idea of a long and slow starving of the people inside is met by assaults using siege weapons such as trebuchets and so on. Siege warfare is a constant and low intensity form of conflict, and usually the party inside, whatever is being besieged, has a strong and static defensive position. The side doing the sieging will always usually surround the area and cut off all the supply routes in and out of the area, aiming to starve and convince the defenders to give up through negotiations that could go on. A siege would usually occur when the attackers come across a city or a fortress that cannot be easily taken by a quick assault, and when the defenders refuse to give up their positions or surrender. Sieges can often be decided by negotiation as mentioned earlier, but also with the starvation of a settlement by disease or thirst caused by the lack of supplies reached to the area. The main focus of a siege was that nobody could leave the area or a castle, or nobody or nothing could enter the castle. This would lead the commanders of the siege army with a need to balance their goals. Do they either wait it out and starve the defenders, or do they use siege engines and weaponry to break in and fight?
That's the red flag.
Commanders would need to weigh up the cost of human life, and also the sheer time that would save with storming and breaking the siege. Attacking forces could also sometimes build their own defensive or earthworks, such as ramparts and ditches, to help intimidate or attack the defenders. This is known as circumvallation, and during this process the attacking force could be set upon, and throughout history this has been done when there's a lengthy siege. In fact, attackers to an area have even built a ring of forts themselves to allow them to defend it from other attackers. The defending armies would have a number of options to break a siege. Normally castles were well stocked and had a large reserve of food. When coupled with rationing, they could possibly hold out for even 6 months inside the sealed fortification. Some defenders throughout history have attempted brave breakouts during sieges to break siege weapons, start fires, and by murdering the attackers during their sleep, but this was hugely risky, ultimately giving up the high ground of the castle or by opening access for a short period of time. So to conduct a siege you had a number of different options to work with. Do you either aim to starve the defenders over a long period of time in a battle of attrition? Do you start by starving them and cutting off supply routes and then attempting to storm the castle? Or do you just attack? So in conclusion, to besiege a medieval castle or any city in fact, you needed a number of things. Firstly, you needed a rather good army, and this army needed to have the resolve to be able to stand the test of time that is required with attrition warfare. You could also use huge weapons or siege engines, and as warfare transitioned past the medieval times, cannons were hugely effective. The key parts of a siege, to reiterate, are certainly through the cutting off and restriction of supplies coming into the fortification or castle. With this, it led you to ultimately a point in time where the defenders would either be forced to surrender, would be incredibly weakened by their lack of supplies, or even would have to attempt a desperate breakout. Sieges were incredibly effective when it came to warfare, and for defeating an enemy and taking a stronghold or strong point. It seemed though that the best sieges ended with negotiation and conceding of a castle. For this wouldn't usually lead to much loss of life on both sides.
He's drunk. Hello.
Oh my god.
Good fight, bro. Good fight,
Yeah, good fight. Good fight. Hey, how much did companions buy the keep for? How many stacks of gold?
I don't know though.
How many stacks of gold did they pay for the key? I'll ask Ironbite. I'll ask Ironbite. Alright, have a good night, bro.